Alright, so this will be the chapter 2 of Gathering of Soldiers, part 1. And chapter 2 is about Informants of the Sea. That's a chapter's name. And again, back to the disclaimer. I'm not going to say anything about this because I already said it in the chapter 1. So just a quick look, take a pause or stuff like that, and refer back to chapter 1 video if you want further information on it. So, anyways, I will continue with chapter 2 then. And it's about Adam, Helios, and Apasios going on a trip to the Princess Islands, just some distance away from Constantinopolis. When Adam was busy shifting sail and rowing to set course right, Apasios showed his training summary papers to Helios. My teacher wrote these during our training sessions. Hmm, let me see them. Helios took the papers and skimmed through them. When he was done, he smiled. May I keep these papers for a while? Later, I would like to go over these with Adam. He glanced at Adam, who was still busy. Also, the Lord of Princess Islands is quite brutish and unreasonable, but I know how to interact with them, so it'll be in your best interest to trust me on the safe delivery of this document. Helios had a calm expression. Oh, thank you. I'll feel better seeing that out of my hands, too. Pasio smiled. Huh? Seems that you don't know how important this is. Helios raised his eyebrows in confusion. No, not really. Pasios shook his head. I don't usually see this kind of document from the new recruits. Helios started flipping through the papers, and he pointed at something. Look here. It's very detailed and shows a step-by-step procedures of how you improved over time. Not many teachers go this much into depth. Since it requires a keen sense to observe you during the training sessions, and then memorize them at the same time to write them down later on. And finally, the patience and diligence to keep at it until your departure, which added up to be around 2 years. Now, the Lord will have much easier time in determining what kind of soldier you are. Oh, that's very interesting. I never looked at it like that. Pasios then asked to see the papers, but he still couldn't understand how important they could be. So he gave them back to Helios, who later moved over to the baggage areas to organize their stuff. After a while, Adam, who had apparently finished with the early part of the voyage, where there was much shifting of sail and rowing was needed, here and there, came over. And with Helios gone for the moment, he secretly took out a wineskin to drink. Hey kid, are you hungry? Adam said and drank the wine. Yes, very much. Pasios nodded and realized that his stomach was empty. Adam burped after a long drink from the wineskin. Good, I have something for you then. He then moved to a makeshift fireplace on the ship and brought a sack near it. Here, why don't you set these firewood and bushes here to be burned later? Don't worry about burning up. Fire breaks around them will protect the ship. Adam looked on as Pasios began following his instructions. Good, now we'll get another thing to cook with. He then looked at Helios. Hey Helios, bring us that pan, will you? Adam said before walking away to get more supplies that he needed. When he returned, Pasios had already set up the wood, and he was waiting for further instructions. Okay, here's the bowl. A sack of ground wheat. A sack of oysters, some spices and salt for flavor, cabbage, and radish sprouts. Adam spread them in front of Apasios, then he continued with his talk. We'll make our lunch with these, so why don't you wash those vegetables and wash your hands with this bucket of water and chop the vegetables into thin pieces on this board. Make sure you conserve the water. Adam looked on for a while to see if Apasios was doing things up to his standards. Apasios agreed and did as he was told, and later Adam started taking out oyster flesh from its shell. They soon checked upon each other's skills of preparing food, and Adam was more surprised because he didn't expect the boy to be good at it. It seems like you've been cooking for a long while. Adam said after a while of looking at Pasio's performance. Yes, I used to work as a assistant cook in the church for 3 years. I learned so much there. Pausius then looked at how Adam was working, a burly man with meaty arms, perhaps as strong as ancient Socrates, and had the look of a seaman, thick skin and curly black hair, cutting open oysters with ease. Man, I never knew you would be so good. So I was just going to do it myself, but I thought you may get bored, and it was a good choice that I made to let you try. Adam chuckled. Want to know what we'll be making? It's called Seaman's Flat Cake. Preparation is very worth it at the end when you get to taste. Adam paused for a while to crack open the last oyster. I've already put oyster flesh in this small bowl, so in this large bowl I'll pour water over this ground wheat and mix them. That's why I told you to conserve the water last time. When he was done, he showed the mixture to Apasius. You should take a look. It's not as well formed, but more like liquid. It's not going to increase in size when you cook, but will taste better than bread with the right ingredients. Oh, so we mix all these together in the large bowl? Pasios looked at Adam's bowl in happiness. Yep, you got it, boy. As Pasios was mixing the ingredients, he told As Adam was mixing the ingredients, he told Apasius to start the fire and place the pan over the opening of the furnace so that it would heat up right in time. After all that was done, Adam spread olive oil on the pan and after a while poured some of the mix into the pan. It sizzled angrily and they waited while it was cooking. I eat this many times during my stay out in the seas. Very tasty. Adam pointed at the pan. It seems so. It also looks strange to me. I've never eaten this kind of food. Pasius nodded. You've never been with a true seaman, then. Adam paused to drink from his wineskin. I spent more time on seas more often than I did on land. This is just my private ship. He chuckled as he was thinking of something. Years back, I worked as a captain in the Imperial Navy. And when the government was laying off soldiers, I got laid off too and worked odd jobs from ship to ship until I got this job. Adam gazed at the pan for a moment. However, you won't eat this often since people don't really cook while they're out on the seas. Too dangerous without the right equipment. So instead, they come to the shores, cook them, and eat. As he was talking, Adam flipped over the flat cake with just his pan. Wow, you just work like the main cook that I was assisting. Pasios had his mouth open wide. Yeah, it comes with years of doing the same thing over and over. You tend to get lazy to even use these utensils. Adam looked around him for something. However, that doesn't mean that I would use my hands to eat. See? I brought the forks and plates for 3 of us. Well, thanks. I'm getting so hungry now. Can we eat that already? Pasios' mouth was starting to water. No, we'll have to wait a while longer. Hey, Helios, come here. Let's eat this food that we made. Adam waved at Helios. Soon, Helios came over and sat around them at the makeshift table looking at the food that Adam and Aposios were cooking on the pan. Oh, so you're making that again, huh? Helios sighed as he looked at the food. Yeah, it's pretty good when you have it from time to time, but I don't get how you could eat that pretty much every day without getting tired. Helios shook his head in disbelief. Yeah, you're right. I need to get other things to eat. But you know, this is a tasty meal which I like so much. Adam excused himself to tend to the sails to handle the boat and to correct course again. He then returned a while later. Adam, Helios had mentioned that there's this town on Princess Islands. I've never heard of it before. How is it like? Pasios held out his plate for Adam to get the flat cake. Oh, it's an isolated town and the largest one of the Princess Islands, which is just barely alive thanks to trade with Constantinopolis. It's also a most likely destination for the exiled nobles and heretics. Adam chuckled and gave some flat cake to Helios. More importantly, its civilians' highest source of income is from soldiers who go on raids and spend their earned income on the town, which in return use them for their goods, or use them for their needs. Adam resumed making more flat cake on the pan. That's not to say that the town is without all its fun. There are bathhouses, a market square, and some taverns where you can get your desires met and perhaps meet your lover. You know what I'm saying? Good thing is that, ever since the current lord has been placed there, the town went through a slow but steady growth in favor of its populace. How many soldiers are there? Pausius was interested. Just around 100. Pausius, Adam shrugged as if it wasn't a big deal. Pausius stopped eating. Wait, just 100? Why is it that few? Adam glanced at Apasius. What? Then how many did you expect? Uh, I hoped there would be around 700. Apasius became really sad. Oh, you're in it for a rude awakening, because those 100 soldiers will be different from any 100 soldiers you see in Constantinople. There's a meaning to it when we call them the Iron Legions of Principle. Adam chuckled for a while. What's Principle? Apasius resumed eating. Technical difficulties. My speaker was acting up. Alright, there you go. It's the name of the biggest island where those soldiers and the greatest number of people live. There are actually several islands of the Princess Islands that we refer to. You'll see later. Adam looked around to see if the ship was sailing in the correct direction. Thus, they continued eating while talking and getting to know each other and about the Principal military. While eating, Helios showed Apasius training summaries to Adam, and they looked over them carefully. After that, they tried their best to tell Apasius that what it's like serving as a Principal soldier, up to the best of their knowledge. When the meal was finished and everyone had their fill of drinks and food, they threw away the remaining bits of food into the sea for the fish, and washed their dishes with soap with sea water. The salt in this water cleanses the filth that gets left behind, and I think that's enough to keep things clean, Adam said and smiled in confidence. Back in the monastery, we used the blocks that would rub out even the thickest of filth and oil. Don't you know about those? Pasio said. No, never heard about them, but you can clean the dishes for me if that's how you will be satisfied, though. Any time. Adam took the plates that Pasio's cleaned. Pausius just nodded in acknowledgement and helped organize the utensils and food that they had laid out. After cleaning up, Adam sailed the ship towards the island. So that was the end of chapter 2. And now we'll just go straight into chapter 3 because it's short enough and I could just fit it right into the time schedule. So chapter 3 is called Harsh Job Application. You'll see what it means. Look, there's a town, Adam said. By then, they had sailed past some other islands. Pausius asked whether Adam would stop over at those, but he denied and replied that they must sail for some more. Then, suddenly, they had sailed past a thin strip of peninsula, and Pausius noticed a large tree stump-like structure on its end. But he didn't put much thought to it and waited as Adam sailed the ship to the harbor. Hey, how's it going? Adam shouted his greetings to a group of fishermen who were just about to go out on a fishing trip. The fishermen greeted him back and shouted at him that the Lord had some tasks for him at the harbor station. Adam looked at the harbor station for a while, but shrugged his shoulders as if it was nothing. There were many ships docked at the harbor, and surprisingly to Apasius, some of them were quite big, and there was a biggest ship docked closest to the station. Why are there so many big ships? Apasius pointed at the ships. Those are for the principal military. The soldiers use them when they go out to raid or transport goods in bulk from Constantinopolis or from other cities nearby, Helios said. Passios nodded and waited as Adam was docking the ship at an empty spot. After that, Adam led Helios and Passios towards the station where they would stop by before going for the military base. Hey man, what's up? I heard that the Lord had some tasks for me, Adam said to the station manager. Oh yeah, here they are. They've been long overdue, so I don't think he even remembers it by now, the station manager said. That reply just shocked the dullness out of Adam's trait, and his eyes immediately opened wide and said, Wait, they're long overdue, but I never miss my tasks. Adam couldn't believe what he had just heard. Ahem. Was the one that was getting drunk by the harbor every single day? Helios quietly reminded him from behind. Urgh, damn! I should have known to stop by the island every once in a while. Adam looked sadly at the papers. He hasn't been giving anything for like a month, so I stopped coming by. Man, it's so unfair. Okay, I'll take these. And thanks for your patience in not throwing them away. When the station manager nodded in acknowledgement, Adam stormed out of the station. After that, Helios and Apophis followed him into the town. There were many people walking around it, but Adam was too busy reading the documents to greet them. Come to see, it's not even a hard task. All he wants me to do is request this technology from the Emperor and bring the documents to him. Also, he needs supplies from the blacksmiths that he had requested, 3 months ago. Nothing serious, wouldn't be too hard. Adam muttered to himself as they were walking in the town. You see here, Apacios? Helios pointed at their surroundings. There are all the things here which a young soldier like you need. Lots of food, a nice bathhouse, taverns with much to drink, and then a church. I heard that soldiers here attended every Sunday along with other civilians. Helios said as they were following Adam. Wow, it would be very cool to live here. It seems small, but how many people live here? Passios said. Around 1,000 people. Not that many compared to Constantinopolis, but still enough for a military lord to be placed in it to oversee. Remember those fishermen whom we saw earlier? Helios looked back at the harbor. They will catch fish, and then sell them here or at Constantinopolis harbors. After that, they will return back here. That's been their lives as far as I can remember. Then there are farmers, merchants, and others. Helios showed his pace. Slowed his pace to match that of Adam. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Passios slowed his pace as well. Are there any blacksmiths here? If they are here, why was Adam muttering to himself regarding having to bring back supplies from Constantinopolis? Passios was starting to feel that coming here wasn't a bad idea after all, because there were lots of interesting things to learn from this strange place. There are a few blacksmiths on this island. Helios chuckled for a moment. But first, they aren't quite skilled with the things that Lord asks for. They focus on meeting the needs of the harbor and town civilians. Then they all continued walking for some while up along the path, and suddenly they noticed the wooden fortress. Look, that's the fortress! Helios pointed at the fortress. When they went closer to the fortress, Passios found out that it was more like a wooden palisade than a fortress. Indeed, it was quite short in height, so that a thief could easily climb it if given the chance. Therefore, Passios sighed as he followed Helios and Adam. Aren't the fortresses made of stones? Passios said. Well, yeah, but there aren't many stones around here. Helios pointed at their surroundings. Also, the soldiers are reluctant to ship in stones to build their fortress, so they make it with what's available to them, which is wood and lots of dirt. Okay, I see. Passios felt disappointed even more this time. Adam turned around to look at Passios. Oh, don't you feel let down? He tapped on Passios' shoulder. This fortress area is bigger than it looks from here. I heard that they were planning on eventually having hundreds of soldiers stationed here. He tried to reassure Apacios. Apacios nodded in relief and walked along with Adam and Helios through the gate. Ironically, the gatehouse and the watchtowers were quite tall. We need to walk some ways to the headquarters. Follow us along this road, Apacios, Adam said. And again, Apacios was disappointed. It was because the inside looked more like barren fields without many buildings. There was one big building in the middle, quite some distance away, and the smaller ones were crowding around that big one. He looked around further and saw the trees, which were apparently not cut down, and were growing in masses in the fortress. It was such a laughable scene to him and was never like what he had expected to see when he heard about a fortress on this island. Looking at the soldiers, Apacius was a bit surprised that they were wearing various kinds of armor, from light leather vests to heaviest plates. The plate armor shined in silvery light, which looked like a historic scene from the books to Apacius. He admired heavy infantry since they were hard to kill and a great chance of surviving each battle. The arrows would simply bounce off their armor while the same are lethal to light infantry. The soldiers began looking at him now after stopping whatever they were doing. Passio soon got very uncomfortable, but Adam and Helios were greeting them as if they knew them very well. That moment went by fast and they all stopped at the headquarters in the middle of the fortress. Adam stretched his arms in relief. Oh, finally, we're here, guys. Anyways, Apasios, all you have to do now is wait until I call for the Lord. He breathed deep to prepare for a shout. Lord Pericles, we brought you a recruit. An awkward silence fell on all of them until a man came out of the headquarters. He was tall and very muscular. He soon jogged to them. Hey, Helios and Adam, good to see you again, but I don't recall recruiting anyone. Lord Pericles looked confused. Here's the seal that this boy had. Here, take it. Helios replied on behalf of Adam, who was too shocked to say anything. Lord Pericles took it and looked at it with a funny expression. I don't remember recruiting for this flimsy child. Then he shoved at Apasius, who fell backward since he wasn't ready to receive it. Look at that, Helios. You call him a recruit? Lord Pericles turned to look at Apasius. How old are you, boy? He had a look which told Apasius that he was very annoyed. I I just turned 17. The words came out more like a stutter for Apasius. Lord Pericles sighed. Well, happy birthday for you, child. Guess what? Your present will be for you to go back home. Helios and Adam were taken aback and stared at Lord Pericles. By now, all the soldiers who were previously training were standing somewhere behind them looking at this situation. However, Lord Pericles started walking away back to headquarters, cursing because he was disturbed from whatever he was doing inside. This scene made Apasius very angry, since he thought all along that Heraclius had planned it straight and good. But that wasn't so good because he had met obstacles frequently along his journey. Therefore, he needed somewhere to get rid of his stress, and the man's rage came out from inside him, and he began unpacking his bag to unleash his secret weapon. The soldiers gasped at Apasios when he got himself ready to shout at Lord Pericles. He shouted with all his strength. Then the voice came out very loud, which satisfied him so much. I never came here to be rejected, Lord. My teacher believed in me. That's why he sent me here. Give me a chance to join your force. Apasios had a long sword in his right hand and a buckler in his left hand as he shouted those words. Lord Pericles paused in his tracks, just in front of his building, as he heard Apasius shouting. He paused there without looking until Apasius finished up his words. He then slowly looked around when Apasius finally finished, looking at him intently. After a while, perhaps sensing the seriousness of Apasius, Lord Pericles started his way back to where Passius was standing while unsheathing his sword. What happened right after was so fast that Apicius barely had time to act against it. Lord Pericles suddenly sprinted when he took a nice charge. Apicius was barely able to escape to his left while putting his sword out to confront Lord Pericles' strike. Clang! The force of Lord Pericles was just too great that Apicius almost lost his grip. But he held on while deflecting the strike by making a wide arc move that kept him safe while keeping focus on Lord Pericles. Apicius let out a cry and gave a strike, but Lord Pericles easily confronted his downward strike with his own sword. However, Apicius was ready for this and he banged on Lord Pericles' stomach with his buckler. The Lord grunted and he moved out of the way, but as he moved out, he slashed at Apicius' sword, which made it go flying towards Adam and Helios, who panicked and ran away behind other soldiers. Apicius gasped for a while due to losing his weapon, but he took advantage of Lord Pericles' triumphant moment by striking at his sword-held hand with his buckler, which sent Lord Pericles' sword flying away. Now it was Apicius' turn to start grinning triumphantly as he was about to strike Lord Pericles with his buckler. However, a quick moment of good feelings ended when the angry lord delivered a hard punch on Apicius' head. The punch didn't completely phase him out, but it was what happened afterwards. Apicius collapsed backwards and his hands weren't quick enough to catch himself. Therefore, when his head struck the ground, it was over. Lord, why did you do that? He's just a... Apicius heard this from Adam just before he fainted. Well, that's the end of chapter 3. And the next chapter, chapter 4, the new friends and outfit, that will continue on with the next video. Yep, I'm out of my breath, so I'm going to call it quits here. So thanks for listening to me.